Welcome to Tab Briefs, a weekly look at headlines from the world of faith for Friday, February 26th, 2021. I'm Tab Media Content Editor Carrie McWhorter, and here are some of the headlines that grabbed our attention this week. Yesterday, the U.S. House of Representatives passed the Equality Act, a bill that would expand the definition of sex in the Civil Rights Act of 1964 to include sexual orientation and gender identity. It's the second time the legislation filed as H.R. 5 has been passed by the House. In 2019, the measure passed by a 236 to 173 vote. Yesterday's vote was 224 to 206. President Biden has endorsed the bill, but the measure will face difficulty in the Senate, where supporters will need 60 votes to overcome an expected filibuster. In 2019, the bill died in the Senate. Supporters of the bill say it will end discrimination against LGBTQ Americans, but critics say the bill's lack of religious exemptions creates one of the most sweeping challenges to religious liberty in decades. Specifically, critics say the bill would gut the 1993 Religious Freedom Restoration Act and roll back conscience protections for pro-life doctors and nurses. There are also concerns the bill would undermine civil rights protections for women and girls. No timeline has been announced for Senate consideration of the bill. In global news, government authorities in Minsk, Belarus on February 17th seized the building of New Life Church, the largest and most influential evangelical church in the country. The church meets in a renovated cowshed. Police ordered the approximate 70 believers praying in the church at the time to vacate the building under threat of arrest. Since then, the church has been holding worship services outdoors in its parking lot. The church's pastor called the situation a serious moment in the church's life and asked church members to fast and pray for God's intervention. Tensions have flared in the post-Soviet country since the August 2020 re-election of President Alexander Lukashenko, who has ruled for the past 26 years and is often referred to as Europe's last dictator. Election results have been disputed, leading to widespread protests and alleged police brutality. Now, evangelical churches in Belarus make up a small but influential minority where the dominant religion is Orthodox Christianity. The U.S. Embassy in Minsk posted a statement February 22nd denouncing the government's crackdown on churches. That statement expresses concern about the eviction of New Life Church and calls on Belarus to protect religious freedom and uphold the right of all faiths to practice freely. In a recent TAB special report, you can hear an interview with Mission Eurasia's Michael Cherenkov regarding the situation in Belarus. And you can find that information and more on the persecuted church at tabonline.org. Finally, the Night to Shine prom event for those with special needs looked a little different this year. But even the pandemic couldn't stop churches in Alabama and across the world from celebrating. The annual event, sponsored by the Tim Tebow Foundation, is meant to lift up those who need it, and that was certainly the goal this year, organizers said. To make the event safer, churches sponsored drive-through events with pictures and party favors. Then a virtual party was held February 12th for special guests from all over the world. You can read more about this year's Alabama events at tabonline.org. Those are your TAB briefs for Friday, February 26th, 2021. And as I noted last week, today is the final edition of TAB Briefs. Thank you for joining us each week over the past year to check out headlines, and we hope you will check out Stories, the new podcast from TAB Media. The second episode of Season 1 is available today, and in it you'll hear more about the adventures of Sammy Gilbreth, longtime evangelism director for Alabama Baptists. Stories host Grace Thornton is taking you through the twists and turns of Sammy's life, including several near-death experiences and the unbelievable things God has done in and around him over the years. You can find Stories wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and I'll add a direct link in today's show notes so you can find it more easily. We hope that you'll check that out today. Thanks again for joining us for Tab Briefs. Have a great weekend.